All right. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the 80% latest patch NMG tournament. Today we have DryEye versus Tremen, and I'm joined here. I'm Sawayoshi. I'm commentating, and I'm joined here by my co-com Mazo.
Hello, everybody.
All right. Let's get this going. So this is an interesting race. With the tournament going. We can get the runners counted down here. Right now, it looks like these are the only two people that won as an underdog seed in the first round, or that advanced as a underdog seed in the first round rather. DryEye, the 12 seed beating 5 seed Sid, and Tremen advancing past Skate, being 13 against the 4. So we have a 12 seed against a 13 seed, and we're not going to be seeing that. We're not going to be seeing anything like this seeding wise in the rest of the tournament.
Yes, it's kind of interesting to note that Dry is technically the 12 seed, despite actually having a better average time than the winner of Dry's pool, Clapudo.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. It's interesting because you can have very good very good showings in races, but one or two losses can just absolutely tank your record in the pools, and that's exactly what happened with DryEye, going 2-2 to Clapudo's 3-1, even after getting two 35-24s. Okay. And we're just about to get going here. Yeah, speaking of averages, yeah, in the pools phase, DryEye had a bit faster average race time than Tremen did, DryEye having a 37.49 average in pools, and Tremen having looks like 38.07, so it'll be interesting to see if we see something close to that, or if either of them has a kind of breakout performance today.
Yes, and looking at rank by average time, they're actually 13th and 14th, so right next to each other.
Mm-hmm.
So this should be a good matchup, hopefully.
Yeah. Right next to each other indeed as we're getting started here with these cutscenes. One thing to know, we talk about this every race, patches. It looks like Tremen is going to be on 1.4 with running Sports Room, and DryEye is going to be on 1.5 actually, running QGA route. So we'll be seeing route divergence. We'll be seeing some separate strats from the two of them. We'll be seeing some things that aren't quite possible on the other patch. So we're getting into KP people arrive territory here. Alright, see a soft fall from Tremen, a soft fall from DryEye, looking pretty good. I think we're going to be seeing at least one, maybe two 56 or 57s, and potentially a 56 from DryEye. I'm not sure if this is going to be.
I think these are both 57. Okay, that's a 56 from Dry.
That's a pretty solid 56
That's
from
a
DryEye.
solid 56.
56.74. That's more than you can ask for in a race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Amazing. The world record being, I believe, a 55.8x. Which is, I can't fathom that. I think my fastest is 56.4. Which is not, like, bad, but it's no 55.
Yeah, I have a 56.12, but once you start getting down to those last couple tenths of a second, it gets really hard to shave off more time.
Mazo, you also run 4 mass shards.
I also run 4 mass shards, true.
And every 4 mass shards runner is cursed to be good at KP.
Yes.
Alright, as we're getting down into Aspid Arena here. Looks like neither of them took damage on Gruz Drop.
Yeah, it's certainly fortunate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It does look like Tremen took some Geo.
Yeah, I was about
Under
to
well.
say. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tremen's definitely higher on Geo than I would have anticipated,
Yeah.
but
I have to think it's just some sort of muscle memory. Because
yeah,
there's
Tremen has
not
been
really much
running
you
a
can there's not
lot
really
of
much that you can do with 32 Geo here.
Tremen has done a lot of all breakable charms, and
Mm-hmm.
that does get well rock.
Yeah.
So probably just muscle memory,
Most likely.
but
But hey, if push comes to shove, it's more Geo for Devout Skip later on.
exactly.
So it's not all negatives. It's not just slow. Makes late game a little bit comfier as we're getting into False Knight here. DryEye looking significantly ahead. For early game at the very least, significantly ahead.
Yeah, although
For
getting well rock will
reasons,
do that.
yeah, for reasons including but not limited to the well Geo Rock. Alright, getting good RNG on DryEye's and Tremen not having
Not
as
so
good
much. Yeah,
not
not
so
so
good,
much
not
on
so
Tremen's
much.
end.
Two
Two
back
back
jumps.
jumps. Yeah, that's quite unfortunate.
Yeah, just gonna widen that lead for DryEye over here. It looks like it's gonna be a 326 or so entry. Trying with the 333 or so. That's a 342 VS. That's pretty good.
Yeah, this is going to be a very solid VS from DryEye.
Oh, it might be a 341.
I think this is going to be a high 341.
Mm-hmm. I mean, we can't really tell without having
Yep.
it splits up, but
I believe it splits as soon as the
as
saving
soon as the save
icon
icon,
appears.
I believe it's somewhere around there. I'm not entirely sure on the exact timing, but right, heading into Mound. Mound is a surprisingly vertical area. There's lots of vertical jumps that you have to make, two specifically vertical sections that you have to jump up, and you can lose a somewhat significant chunk of time from those jumps, doing them not quite optimally. Anywhere up to really 1 or 2 seconds, which you don't usually think you'd lose from those jumps.
Yeah.
Getting a second spit there on DryEye's end. 3, 4, 5,
Polar, please.
6, 7.
Okay,
Finally
7.
on 7.
7 spit.
Oh boy.
Gross.
This is going to be a race, isn't it? This is going to be a race, isn't it? Oh boy. All right. Heading up into Green Path. Getting full soul going into here, which is exactly what you need.
Yeah, Dry definitely kind of got bailed out a little bit by the Grozer positioning at the end of the room.
Mm-hmm. This is looking like a low 5-2x entry into Green Path for DryEye. Tremen having a little bit more trouble getting some soul. And
Yeah.
losing some health along the way too. 3 is not what you really want to be at going into Green Path. Alright. Go Tremen on his way into Green Path. DryEye coming up on the first fireball skip here, we'll see. Shouldn't quite be an issue. A little bit low on soul though.
Yeah.
Having 7 here on DryEye's end. Needs every single hit that he can get. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And now we have 6, enough for 2 fireballs. I'm a little bit nicer on soul, having 8 going into the first fireball skip. All right.
Yeah. Looks like DryEye got the second fireball skip.
Very nice. they get a little bit of a fall though. Those falls cost. They cost actually
Tremen,
deceptively long.
Tremen,
Uh,
please.
Tremen. Yeah, that's gonna be going around.
Yeah,
Not what you want to be
and that
seeing.
took way too long for Buddy Bounce. Yeah, have to do the walk of shame. Tremen, please.
One health. One health. That's not what you want to
Tremen,
be seeing
don't
here.
do this to us.
Okay, we see one heal. We see one heal.
And not getting the jump back, although very good backup.
Mm-hmm. Dealing with it nicely as Dry is heading into Hornet. This could potentially be a 7-4x cloak.
Yeah, DryEye is having an extremely good early game.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, and getting good RNG with that needle throw.
Yeah.
Keeping her in the corner.
As soon as you said that,
Another needle throw. Another needle throw though.
that's true.
Really what you want to be seeing. Yeah, that's a pretty solid 7-4x. Yeah, 748 cloak. I believe actually Dry Eyes PB is a 749. Oh no.
I think
Dry Eyes PB has a 748 cloak.
yes.
Okay. So it's tied PB, which is honestly at a low 34 PB level. That's amazing, especially in a race.
Yeah.
Tremen getting a good double on Hornet as well.
Unfortunately, not having sold
Ooh.
having to hike over to
Mm-hmm.
wake up Hornet.
Getting doubles, not really being able to capitalize on the damage though.
Yeah. Meanwhile, DryEye heading into fungal wastes.
Mm-hmm. Alright, yeah, it does look like Tremen's pretty solidly behind at this point. Try quite solidly in the lead. Just has to
Yeah.
kind of and if you look at these PBs, just kind of has to hold on to this lead the entire rest of the race. Though, you know, it's Hollow Knight, it's any percent. There's so many places that where you can just easily lose 2 minutes.
You didn't even need to say it's any percent. You just needed to say it's Hollow Knight.
You know,
And
you're right.
that's all
You're
needed to
entirely
say.
correct. There's plenty of places where you just lose time. Alright, going to E-Pogo. One fireball gets... It was a little close, but... Good stuff. Into Mantis Village is gonna end up being... Yeah, pretty solid.
Yeah, this is an extremely
quick.
solid Mantis Claw.
Yeah, 921 claw.
Tremen
Don't see
taking a
those
dunk,
often.
unfortunately. Think he got stuck on the ceiling, which it's very easy to do if you just dash too early.
Mm-hmm. Now looking at Geo counts, Tremen of course going to be pretty solid on Geo after the wild Geo rock. DryEye a little bit low. 227 though shouldn't be an issue. Especially with if you forego, if he does end up foregoing the devout skip later on.
Yeah. Also, correct me if I'm wrong, but Devout Skip is not necessarily consistent on 1.5 like it is on 1.4.
Yes, that's correct.
So DryEye may not even be playing on Devout Skip.
Mm-hmm. Great backup Mantis spoke from Tremen, by the way. Yeah, 1.5 devout skip is very odd in that the entire collision system's been changed in that you basically get pushed into the wall instead of into the devout, and that makes it not possible with the method that people always use on 1.4 and 1.2.1. So you kind of have to hope for the backup, which is I think 1 in 5 chance, 1 in 2 chance.
Solid Grows Mother from DryEye, despite getting not particularly good RNG. Let's see how the cleanup goes.
Ooh, a little early on that first fireball.
Yeah.
Not quite hitting all of the growers there. All right. Getting shaman. We'll see how Tremen's God's Mother compares to DryEye's. DryEye had some somewhat unfortunate RNG with Grossmom going high. And then of course the cleanup not going quite as expected. Tremen getting good RNG there.
Yeah.
Just barely getting the 6th hit in before Grossmom goes back up. Left DryEye. No shade fireball. Not an issue getting up.
And Tremen's solid cleanup. Not perfect, but the Grozer that was left was in a very good position for a couple nail hits to finish it off.
A little nicer than DryEye's. Alright, getting the weird wall jump there. Sometimes happens where if you jump off the bottom corner of a wall, then you just get a backwards wall jump.
Because, you know, Team Cherry things.
Exactly. They just kind of make they make their games in a way, and they make their games in a way that makes reverse wall jumps possible. All right. Into the shades, get Tremen getting a fireball. Yeah. Not what we want to be seeing. Begin to Blue Lake though. Just a little bit of time lost, nothing too big. And it's RNG. You can't really do much
Dream
about
Dash
it.
from DryEye.
Just holding right the entire way through. Almost fell off there, but just barely holding on.
Almost doesn't mean anything.
Exactly. Okay. Yeah, DryEye. It looks like having a 13-0x stream now, which is really good.
Yeah, Tremen entering Dreamnail cutscene just as DryEye is exiting it. DryEye hits Seer Skip.
DryEye high-fiving Tremen just as Tremen heads into the dream cutscene. Like, yeah, you're gonna be spending a few seconds in there, and I'm gonna be heading my way into King Station. Adios. And you know, DryEye wouldn't be saying adios because he's Japanese and not Spanish, so. But we'll allow it. DryEye heading into King Station here.
I believe both of these runners do rafters. So.
I believe so. I believe at least DryEye definitely goes for rafters. It looks like Tremen, at the very least, might have used to go with King Station, but I do think I remember Tremen going for rafters in a prior race. And you see DryEye, yeah, heading left there, foregoing the King Station's seal and safety bench. Important to note that.
Good gorgeous husk from DryEye. Now let's see how the Great Husk Sentry goes. Because the Great Husk Sentry can go very wrong very fast.
Very fast. That 2 damage. That absolutely tanks your HP if you get hit
Yeah.
by any of those,
It's a good
especially with.
heal, by the way, on that elevator.
Mhm.
So you have 5 instead of 4.
Yeah, not gonna really have much soul going into here, but shouldn't be an issue. Has enough for one fireball, and with this strat, that's all that matters.
Very
Info
clean.
goes. And it looks
And
like
Tremen
Tremen.
is getting King Station Steal.
Yeah. Not something that I expected, but you know, especially with going in with 3 health, I can respect the decision.
Yeah.
Taking it a little bit safer. Not eating the quite as much time loss as if you took
The Spire bench.
mhm, or no bench,
Or no
which
bench.
is what
Yeah.
it looks like DryEye is going for right now. Going up to the chandelier, not benching in Spire, not benching in King Station, going into Watcher Knights, but full health, full soul. Or pretty much full soul. And DryEye
Fireball's the
used to
wrong
this.
way.
Yeah,
And this is not a nice pattern, by the way.
yeah. Jumps are not quite what you want to be seeing, especially when you don't have much soul.
Jumps are not
'Cause-
what you want to be seeing at all.
Yeah. It's better than them walking in from off screen, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Because you can't get nail hits, it's hard to get doubles. And they can just kind of bounce on you, because that's how the attack's made to work. Good first bear though. Going into the last bear, full health. Shouldn't be an issue at all. Tremen going into Greyhound Sentry. And here we see those 1.5 exclusive back rolls. You saw
Yep.
1.5 exclusive. There's another one. 1.5 exclusive elevator squeezes earlier.
Yes.
Damageless Watcher Knights. Wow.
Fair. So far, so good, but the run is still young.
Run is still young. The run is still young. We still have half the race to go. We're in basically the turnaround point of the run. Right, we'll see. It looks like, looking at splits, it looks like until that Watch Knights fight, DryEye was actually ahead of PB pace, which is very surprising given if you look at the bottom of the screen, his current PB at 34.14 already very, very fast.
Yeah.
And not really something you beat in a race too often. I think the fastest run in a race that we've seen so far is a 34.41, so. And we've seen 2 of those. The run is middle-aged indeed, as we see Tremen struggling a little bit, but 3 health. I was going to absolutely scream if if I said 3 health, then Tremen took a damage.
Yeah.
Right. going into last pair. 2 health.
Walking into the Watcher Knights is not...
1 health.
Tremen, please.
Please. Has to play it safe to not die here, but also has to play it risky to not lose too much time and stay in the race.
Yeah.
Farm, although shouldn't be an issue. There we go. Making it through the fight. You know?
That's all that really matters.
Exactly. If you make it through the fight, and you make it through it in a somewhat timely manner, then you know how you do it really doesn't matter as long as it follows the rules. And 1 health follows the rules, so.
Yeah.
Right. DryEye wanting 1222 Geo here, 1214 actually Geo here. It has plenty of Geo for non-devout skip at the very least. Going into rafters, we'll see. Probably gonna be going for right rafters. Ooh, that's a little low. But okay, yeah, going to make it
Yeah,
with the 3 damage tanks.
impressive.
Very nice. Though gonna take damage. 1 health, a little scary. Especially with this Husk Sentry right here. Gonna take a heal.
Healing, yeah, that's smart.
Yeah, doesn't
Those,
need Geo, doesn't need fireballs. Can use all of that soul for health.
yeah, those heavy sentries can be unpredictable, and there's really no safe and fast way to dodge them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. They can slash you from on the ground. They can run at you. They can jump and slash at you, which is the most annoying because you try to jump over them and then they jump at you anyways.
Yeah,
So a lot of things that they can do, and a lot of them are unfavorable. Alright, going back into King Station here. Not an issue. Though, it looks like DryEye is very solidly in the lead. And Tremen going top route here, not needing Rafter Seal.
yep.
But again, DryEye in his last race did die in peak. So, it's possible. It's possible that we see some sort of comeback from Tremen still.
Yeah,
Not saying that it's going to happen, but there is a somewhat of a possibility.
most certainly.
Right. Talking to Lem, trying talking to Sly. I thought that was Star Wars Show, honestly. But yeah, going to buy Lantern. And Tremen looking good on Geo as well. Even if he does decide to go for Devout Skip, wants 2357 or more Geo, leaving Lem, and going to have plenty here. And be up to
Yeah,
2358. Taking a hit to the tick tick there.
but not taking any other hits in that room.
Mm-hmm.
So, not healing though, which is an interesting decision if you ask me.
Yeah.
But it's quite possible that DryEye has been practicing peak,
Yeah.
especially after taking a death to peak in the last race.
Absolutely. That can hurt your mental, and that can get you to practice. This segment, not good. Not great RNG from the Husk Miner, but gets the Pog Axe anyways. Wasn't too horrendous of a pogo to make.
Also, I love the conversion rate on the so-called impossible jump in King Station.
Mm-hmm.
And
Ooh, God,
they're,
pixel.
yeah, love to see that.
Yeah, it's the jump. It's called impossible jump. It's bufferable, and there's a pretty good visual align for when to do the dash. So it's not super difficult. It's definitely not easy, but I can understand the conversion rate. DryEye not quite getting this Dream Nail drop here, getting it there. Going into the last room of Peak as Tremen's heading into Crossroads to get all the way up there first.
Oh, that's interesting. I didn't realize how good the timing for the Dream Nail drop was there.
Yeah, you just hold a direction and it's perfectly timed, and that's why a lot of people do tend to go for Dream Nail drop there rather than the inventory drop. Alright, Tremen on the right, coming up on Pogax here as well. We'll see how this goes.
Deciding to
Gonna be
skip
going
it.
around. Taking a safe. Only loses a couple seconds. And honestly, Tremen might be, at this point, just playing it safe and looking to hope for something happening on the left.
Yeah,
Because with
Tremen
this
has
much
definitely been playing conservative.
I mean, you can say that, we also did see 1 health Watcher Knights, so
I mean, yes, although ending Watcher Knights on 1 health is very different than entering Watcher Knights on 1 health.
yeah, very much so. We saw an underplot as a skip from DryEye there. Getting a little bit of soul for later on. And Tremen on the right, also going for the Dream Nail drop, not quite getting it.
DryEye going to bench here.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised, but yeah, going to be skipping it. In practice, he did do plenty of 2 cycles on 3 health, so probably not worried at all, but you know, anything can happen. And
yeah,
you know, anything can happen on the right too. Tremen on 1 health. A little scary on that laser, but gets through. That heal earlier on definitely coming through.
Yeah. But yeah, DryEye not taking a bench could really come back to bite them.
It could.
Because if there's a death here...
Ooh, not getting that double on the 3rd fireball there.
Yeah,
not going to be... the 2 cycle at the very least.
If there's a death here, I think the last hard save was... I'm not super familiar. Is it still all the way back? Oh no, it was at Crossroads Stack.
It is in Dirtmouth.
It's in Dirtmouth? Okay.
Yeah, because you sit there and then take the stag and quit back to Dirtmouth.
That's right.
So not too bad, but
it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, it's still pretty bad. You have to go all the way back through Crossroads. You have to go through Fog Canyon, and you have to do the entire Umu fight over again and start it on not full soul.
Yeah.
Though the Dream Nail at the beginning kind of mitigates that a little bit.
Also,
3 cycle though.
Yeah, having to do Infected Gruzzer Room is bad enough as is. Having to do it twice is just agonizing.
Don't want to be interacting with the Gruzzers at all if possible. And more than once, definitely not what you want to be doing in a race. Or in any run. Alright, Tremen with a similar setup here. 1 Dream Nail and then luring Umu upwards. Stand in the middle. Get Umu there. Get Umu over to the left and go for 3 doubles. There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. This is a potential 2 cycle from Tremen. That's gonna diminish DryEye's lead a little bit if that happens. And right now it's looking pretty good. Will's carry on almost dunking there, but no extra. And yeah, that's a 2 cycle.
Yeah.
Well done. Yeah, there were quite a few slow attacks, so not quite the time save, the 20-second time save that usually a cycle would say that would give you, but still saving a good 10-15 seconds.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, DryEye still has QGA, all of QG, Petra Arena, Den, and a 1.5 THK to work against.
Yeah. Second try QGA from DryEye.
Second try, completely fine. Taking a heal. Plenty of places to get soul. I'm playing it safe.
And it's going to be time for every runner's favorite part of any percent, which I'm sure it's absolutely no one's favorite part.
Oh boy, it is Petra Arena time.
Yes, it's Petra Arena time.
The main reason I run Sports Room. I don't care if this route has QGA. I don't care if it has the Petra platforming. It's really Petra Arena that pushes me away from it. Alright, as we see DryEye hitting that lever, Tremen on the way out from Archives as well. Good inventory drop on DryEye's side. DryEye does want quite a bit of soul here. Wants full soul going into Deep Nest if possible. 7's workable. You really want at least 8, but 7's completely fine.
Yeah, DryEye themselves certainly seem confident enough with 7. It's easy to get 8 if you really wanted to, just by whacking one of the spiny husks.
We're
Getting
hitting
a
that.
little close to the spikes there.
Yeah, playing it close. Used to the drop though.
Yeah.
Knows his way around.
It's also much less dangerous than it is in the dark.
Yeah. If it was dark, I would bet that DryEye we would be seeing a little bit different, a little bit more conservative movement from DryEye. All right, getting into Den completely fine. No falls whatsoever. I'm gonna sit on this bench here. Tremen picking up Source Room here, going into Deep Nest as well.
Curious
right now,
Tremen doesn't know about
the
using thorns for the hazard respawn rather than using the acid.
Yeah, I did see that falling into the acid there.
Because jumping up into the thorns, I believe, is faster.
It is. By a little bit. See DryEye's Den here. Getting pretty quick open, getting a good quick kill on that Devout. Up slash into the C-dash. Alright. Good pogo.
Good inventory drop from Tremen.
Saves a couple seconds there. That's a pretty long drop. DryEye on pretty good health. 2, you want 2, 3 is more than good. And full soul, nothing can stop him anymore, except for
Sawakam's curse.
You know, I wasn't gonna say it, but yeah, everything's fine. 260 GO2, enough for the stag after this, and yeah, it's just THK. Ooh, Tremen taking a hit to that spider, and gonna have to, yeah, spider elevator back up. Getting a double.
Yeah.
Getting a double on that Weaver Lang. Or Little Weaver, rather.
Very unfortunate, because I don't think he wanted to fireball that spider at all.
Definitely wanted to use them to get up. But Tremen on 1.4 has the Geo to work with, can absolutely go for Devout Skip if he knows it. Which I'm not sure, but definitely a possibility.
Tremen does.
Alright. I'm going into Den just as DryEye is heading out. Quite a big differential between the two. Probably close to 2 minutes at this point.
Yeah, DryEye does have THK to contend with. And the Hollow Knight is many things, but it is not a pushover.
Absolutely not, especially on 1.5. Quick attacks, flame pillars do 2 damage.
Yeah, on latest patch. It's the same way on 1.4, I believe.
Yes, and that 1,000 health is nothing to scoff at.
Also, apparently Blob Pogo on DryEye's side.
Always fun to see. Good Devout Skip from Tremen earlier. Going up through Den. Tremen saving the grub. You really do love to see that. 2 health, full soul. Into the last eval shouldn't be an issue.
Should be okay. In theory.
In theory. In theory.
We're fine.
Alright. Let's watch this THK fight. Let's see DryEye close out this run. This could definitely still 34 actually. We could see the fastest run in this tournament so far. Because I believe the fastest is a 33:41. Or 34:41 rather.
Dream skip.
Alright. Getting a couple parries. Getting a couple parries. Running around to the back. Getting good number of doubles too though, and already into the last scream.
Into self stab, yeah.
Yeah, into self stab. Taking 2 damage though from that flame pillars. All these flame pillars. And nil knockback. There's a death. There's an opening for Tremen, though that's not really quite gonna be enough. Tremen needs a little bit more, even with Sports Room. Sports Room isn't going to make up 40 seconds for you. It gets close, but not quite enough.
Yeah, back-to-back pillars and taking damage to the pillars both times.
Yeah. All the way from 4 to 0 in under 5 seconds.
Yeah. Hollow Knight, not a pushover.
Not a pushover at all. Seeing a lot of doubles this fight though. And there's that flame pillar right there. More parries. More parries. Not what DryEye wants to be seeing. More doubles though. And into Scream, into Self Stab. Picking up Soul for later on. Tremen going into THK here pretty soon. More parries. More bounces. Not really what you want to be seeing, but it's not the worst that you could get. Alright, there's the last Scream. Full health into that.
Into a Scream skip. Yeah.
Definitely much nicer than what we saw last fight.
And that's going to be GG's for DryEye.
Good showing, and even with that THK death, going to be a 35.
Yeah, that's very, very impressive. Yeah. 35 for the late THK death.
Yeah. And meanwhile, let's see how this Sport THK is going for Tremen. Taking a hit and taking more spores. Almost taking the 2 damage from the flame pillars. We saw just how quickly that can
that could
just demolish.
Yeah, I can absolutely melt your HP.
Not quite hitting any of that spore. It does hit that one though. Gets a stagger. That's perfect timing for one more heal. And that's going to be Scream. Going into Self Stab. Self Stab, you still get full damage, so you really want to be using these spores. And into last Scream immediately.
Yep.
There's THK for you. There's Sport THK.
Yeah, there is the strength that is Sports Room THK.
Marvelous. Right, and looks like a 36-33. Not bad at all. Not quite a 35-47 though, and DryEye is going to be moving on to semifinals, top 4 as a 12 seed. And let's get DryEye and Tremen in here, and GG's to both of you.
Yeah, GG.
GG's racers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 35-47 DryEye going to be moving on. Tremen, unfortunately, out of the tournament, but great showing,
Yeah,
regardless.
I'm proud of that time for a race. Just
Mm-hmm.
even like just including how terrible my early game went.
Mm-hmm. That green path.
It
We're
was
not going to
bad.
talk
Yeah.
about that.
It was I got a 7 spitbalder. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That did happen.
Uh, yeah, it was just the first like 4 splits. I lost a minute to my PB.
Mm.
And then I pretty much stayed that pace. Like,
Yeah.
so I just PB'd a few days ago, and I screwed up 3 splits in that PB, which was Umu, Hera, and THK.
Mm.
And I in this run I did awful on every split except those 3, which I saved like 5 to 10 seconds on each of those splits.
Yeah, did see the 2 cycle on Umu there.
Yeah, that's good.
Mm-hmm. Very nicely done. Yeah, GG's though. And DryEye, GG's on the win as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, GG's. How did you feel about that race? 感想をよろしくお願いいたしま、よろしくお願いいたします。
はい、最後にひどいものをお見せしてしまい、申し訳ありませんでした。それと、有無以外は PB ペースだったかなと思うので、良かったと思います。ありがとうございます。
First, I'd like to apologize for the bad showing that was THK, but other than that, and other than Umu, it was pretty much PB pace through the entire run. So I'm pretty happy with being able to hold that PB pace, and thank you.
Thank you.
Honestly, that was not that bad of a THK until the back-to-back pillars.
The back-to-back pillars taking 4 damage, all in 2 hits. 一瞬で2発で4ダメを食らうということが起きましたが、
そうですね。
さあですね。Lamau.
I had 1 gold split in that run actually, which was the
Hmm.
THK Scream split. It was a pretty good split. What was the time on that? It was a 135.94.
135.94, pretty good. Let me actually check to see that. And actually, we did see the same gold from DryEye golding THK Scream. So
Nice.
this race had some pretty good THK Screams.
I know that's a pretty good THK Scream.
Okay,
I
Tremen,
Yeah.
what did you say that THK Scream was?
135.94.
Okay, because current comp sub is a 135.89.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, it was close. It was very close. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Casually, 20th of a second off of Comstock.
Mm-hmm.
I C-dashed too high with C-dash Bell and didn't make it out of the room. If I would have made it out of the room, it probably would have com-subbed.
Mm-hmm. It definitely would have.
Rip. Well, thanks for the race, everyone.
Yeah.
Glad I could
GG's.
partake in this tournament. It was a really fun time learning a route. And yeah.
Yes, and congratulations, DryEye. You'll be moving on to face Kuroshi
Ooh, good
in
luck.
the semifinals.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck.
That should be an absolute treat of a race. The 2 fastest PBs in the tournament, Kuro with the 34.26 and DryEye with the 34.14. That'll be an absolute treat to watch. All right, and it looks like there's nothing else in terms of questions from chat, so we'll be wrapping it up here. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. That was a good race, honestly.
I believe our next
And-
race is
yeah.
in just over 11 hours.
Just over 11 hours. Yep.
That's the last race of quarters.
last race of quarters, and then we're on into semifinals and finals. Have
All
3
right.
more races after today, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see who's going to be in that. Thank you, in GGs to the runners. Thank you for Masso for co-comming. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Sawa, for helping calm and for not cursing the runners too much.
Yeah, and thank you to Oat for restreaming, and thank you all for watching, and we'll see you all in the next race in 11 hours.